Good evening. I'm glad to see you all here. I'm calling to order this regular meeting of the Carabell City Commission. It's Thursday, December the 2nd, 2021, 6 p.m. And this meeting is being conducted in the Carabell City Hall chambers. We will open with a prayer by Commissioner Allen, and then I will lead the Pledge of Allegiance. And if you will all stand. Thank you.
Our God and Father, we're so grateful that we have this opportunity tonight to come together and talk about those things that would make our city work better, and that other people will be profitable, and that we'll grow in growth and knowledge, and especially in faith to you. And we ask this in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I'm glad to see a large crowd here this evening. Thank you for silencing your phones. Anyone wishing to speak during a public comment section or during our discussion portion of any of the agenda items, please complete a speaker card and submit that. If you could, kind of pass it up to Ms. Keisha. And all public comments are kept at a maximum of 3 minutes and with a one-time visit to the podium, so be sure to plan what you want to say very well. No loud outbursts will be allowed. I don't usually say this, but when we have a big crowd, I do. And if you want a hard copy of our written ground rules, that's available on request. So we move right to the consent agenda, and that is for the November 4th, 2021 regular meeting minutes, the November 29th special meeting minutes, and the attorney's invoices. Do we have, has everyone had an opportunity to review all of these documents? Do we have a motion regarding these approval or disapproval?
I move to approve.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have that motion but to approve the consent agenda by Commissioner Allen, second by Commissioner Brown. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. All right, we'll move right on into the commissioner reports. Commissioner Brown, do you have a report for us this evening?
Not this week.
Okay, how about you, Commissioner Allen?
Just one thing, I've come across some information that says that the Department of State for Florida is interested in Carabell's historic district, and it might be possible to get it on the National Registry of Historic Places. And I just come across that information, so there's nothing we can do about it tonight, but perhaps by the time of the next meeting, we can get all the information together and find out what's going on.
Okay.
Thank you.
Does Carabell have an historic district?
Who?
Does Carabell have an historic district?
It is, but it's the National Register.
Uh-huh.
That's what they want to talk about. Is getting
Okay,
it on
well,
the
I'll need
national-
you to explain
That'd
that
be
to me.
worldwide.
Maybe we'll have it on the agenda and we
Yeah,
can
it'll
get
be
that.
on the agenda, and we
Okay.
can talk about it then and hope everybody comes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Mathis is absent this evening. Commissioner Millender, do you have a report for us?
I have no report, Mayor, but it's early in the meeting, but I would like to extend a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to all the public and everyone that's in here tonight. And I know it's early in the meeting, but we sometimes do that at the end of the meeting, sometimes we forget it, but I wish everybody a blessed and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, and I always have a report I think one time I didn't, and they were all glad. But I've tried to shorten it this evening. I want to let especially the commissioners know that on November the 5th, I met with Warden Connor of the Department of Corrections here in Carabell, and he reported the urgent need he has for workforce housing to serve the expected increase in recruitment as a result of recent legislation that will increase salaries for all DOC employees. On January 1st, DOC employees will receive a $5,200 salary increase. This is annually. And then another $5,000 increase on July 1st, 2022. A recruitment bonus of $5,200 is also offered. Warden Connor told me that as of November 5th, the DOC was understaffed, believe it or not, by 145 employees, and that the work camp and the 3 dorms are currently shut down. And because of the upcoming salary incentives that have been now enacted by the state legislature, Warden Connor said the employment application rate has already increased as of November 5th, and he expects to recruit numerous employees from the surrounding counties in the next few months. And then on November the 10th, I attended the legislative delegation meeting in Apalachicola, where I reported on the city's House appropriations request that had previously been submitted. And I presented the Baywood Drive infrastructure repairs and improvement needs to Senator Osley and Representative Schoaf's legislative aide. Representative Schoaf was not able to make that meeting. And I did remind both of the urgent need in our community for affordable housing, workforce housing. Then on November the 22nd, I had the privilege of meeting Senator Osley once again as she visited the Carabell Airport, where she met with the Aviation Advisory Board chairperson, Tim Sullivan, Ms. Courtney Dempsey, other members of the Aviation Advisory Board, and myself. And topics of discussion while she was there included the FDOT and FAA grant funding for small rural airports, how the FDOT and FAA-funded airports may use their facilities, the much-needed stormwater management infrastructure at the airport, the local economic impact of our airport, the ongoing aircraft mechanic internship program at the airport, pilot training hours provided at the airport through the Carabell Flying Club, how the all-volunteer advisory board is saving the city of Carabell thousands of dollars annually, the increase in aviation fuel prices, the possibility of amending Triumph funding criteria to allow funding for airport infrastructure improvements, and at the end of the visit, I again had the opportunity to speak with Senator Osley about the need for affordable workforce housing in our area. And then this past Tuesday, I met with DEO representatives regarding the city's Hurricane Michael infrastructure CDBG applications. Along with Ms. Courtney and Charlie Painter and David Fox, I participated in the entrance and exit site visit interviews conducted by the DEO representatives. And then Ms. Courtney and Charlie and David accompanied the DEO representatives out on the actual field site visits for the Carabell Lanark West Gravity Sewer Project and the Carabell Lanark East Gravity Sewer Project. And also, I would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I want to remind you that we, on December the 11th, are having the Chamber, Carabell Chamber, sponsoring the Holiday on the Harbor from 11 o'clock to around 7:30. And you'll have the boat parade of lights, and then the Carabell Community Redevelopment Agency is sponsoring the fireworks as that agency does every year. So be sure to come to the Holiday on the Harbor, frequent our stores for your Christmas shopping. And Miss Tamara, will Santa be arriving on the fire truck this year?
I'm really not sure. It's all a big secret.
Oh, my.
Oh, okay, all right. But they'll be there at the Holiday on the Harbor and fireworks and the boat parade of lights. So we'll see you then, and Merry Christmas. And then we'll go now to the attorney's report under staff reports.
I have none.
Okay, thank you, sir. Ms. Courtney?
I just have a real short report. I wanted to let you guys know that we did receive our reimbursement from the FWC on the derelict vessel grant.
Okay,
So that is complete.
very good. That was really fast. That was wonderful, smoother than we thought it would be. Okay. Okay, Ms. Keisha?
A few dates for everybody. We, December 16th, would be a planning and zoning meeting. I don't have anything as of now, but that's at 2 o'clock. December 21st, CRA meeting at 1:30. And we got some closures for the Christmas holidays. did we decide to do the Thursday and Friday? Will be closed the Thursday, the 23rd and the 24th, for Christmas. And then we will be closed a half a day Thursday, the 30th, and all day Friday, the 31st, for New Year's Eve, or for New Year's Day.
Okay. Do you all have any questions for Ms. Keisha or Ms. Courtney?
No, ma'am.
And I neglected to ask you if you had questions for Mr. Hartman. Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Keisha. And then next we have Mr. Russell Large, our engineer with Inovia.
All right, thank you. On our paving project on 9th Street, had a conversation with the gentleman where we need a drainage easement, and he's still considering it. I recommended that we schedule a meeting with him, and I've asked for a meeting with him, sit down either at City Hall or on the project site with myself and Courtney, and just to have a discussion about the drainage easement that's needed for that project.
Is he aware that we have a deadline on our grant funding?
He may be. I'm not certain, but that'll be part of the discussion.
Okay.
Yes.
That was gonna be my question, is the urgency on the grant funding.
Right, and that deadline for completion is March 31st.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. On our Baywood project, funding application, that I did confirm that was submitted through Preston Wilson in Representative Schoaf's office. And on our Lighthouse Estates project, we did issue the notice of award to North Florida Construction, and they've submitted shop drawings back to us. We're reviewing those. He's also reviewing the contract, which he intends to execute, and we'll pass that along to the city for signature.
Okay.
I would like to note the sidewalk project on Avenue A. The concrete contractor is scheduled to pour this coming Saturday, and the contractor has been in contact with the property owner there to let them know.
Okay. Have the contractor, has he been in touch with the property owner or the
Yes.
restaurant manager?
I'm
But I can-
I'm not sure of the distinction.
Okay, I can contact, or Miss Courtney, you can let Miss Beth know that that's happening. She has a great concern, and I do too. It's been so long, but I
Okay.
thank you so much for
Okay.
following up on that.
Sure.
And was there anything else then?
No, ma'am. That was it.
Okay, do y'all have questions for Mr. Russell?
You covered mine.
Okay. I just wanted to report to Russell and everyone that we did end up receiving several letters of support for the Baywood Drive application. And Preston Wilson said that was fine to go ahead and send it afterwards, and Courtney did do that. And so I appreciate all those folks out on Baywood Drive who did bring their letters of application. And then we had requested a quote also to pave the northern block of Ryan Drive. That's I requested that, I believe, at the last November meeting to be as a change order on the southeast 9th Street. And it's the northern part of Ryan Drive from Three Rivers up to where it pretty much dead ends into Commissioner Mathis's house. And that one block is pretty much riddled with potholes, so I want to see what that's going to cost to pave that. And I told the commissioners at our last commission meeting that we owe $58,000 and change for the Ryan Drive culvert repairs. That's our share, our portion of it, split in half with the County Commission District 5. And I feel sure that there will be sufficient funding in the log account to fund that. And then also, we did ask at the CRA board, and this is some CRA business, a quote to repair cuts in the street for at Mark Street and Owens
Yes.
Avenue. You got that part?
Yes.
Okay, very good. And then District 5 County Commissioners on board with the quote for paving the library spaces. That's also kind of CRA business, but I just wanted to let you know. And to find out if that will include striping for the parking spaces and the road as well.
Okay.
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 Thank you.
I'll prepare that in a summary and get it back, all
All
those
right. Okay,
separated and get that to
all
court.
right. I thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Thank you.
All right, are there any other questions to Mr. Large? All right, we'll move on to our advisory board reports, and we have our written reports from the Carabell Waterfront Partnership. Do we have any questions to Ms. Tamra? Okay. And Ms. Tamra, I did see your request here about the coastal cleanup, and if you're for the boat ramp area and right along that, it's a big mess. And we're going to have, I believe someone's coming to speak on that later during public comment as well. And if you're looking for funding, boat ramp funding could help with that. I mean, that's, we've got funds there, and that can also help if you need funding for advertising for help or something. Okay. And then we've got our Carabell Airport report from the Carabell Aviation Advisory Board. And this month's report is basically focused on their efforts for procurement of a courtesy car for use at the airport. And he also reports on how insurance is provided for courtesy cars at other airports. So they've been working on that for 5 years, and I think maybe they have identified a surplus car that's working and in order from the police department.
I have a question, Mayor, on that.
Okay.
I read through that report, and my question is, has the airport board addressed or discussed any fee charges for that courtesy car when put in use?
It's not custom to charge fees for courtesy cars because they have to fill it up with gas. It's left full with gas, and then they fill it up with gas. And it's not a custom to do that because it's the reason they land here and you want a car is because they're going to go out to eat, and it brings such an economic impact to the area that it's believed by small general aviation airports in the area and throughout Florida that courtesy cars pay back to the community by bringing people in to shop and eat in the community.
And I understand that. But at other airports, I've also questioned some of them. At other airports, there are some fees on some courtesy cars, and they have rental cars. So those people get that benefit of utilizing that, and I don't have an issue with a courtesy car. I think that's a great idea. But I would hate to see a significant expense burdened on the taxpayers when we might need to consider or talk about and discuss a nominal fee for usage.
Okay, and what do you think would be the significant expense?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm not prepared to discuss that.
All
I'm just
right.
asking the question, has the airport board addressed that?
They have talked about it, but now rental cars are rental cars, and Uber is Uber, and Lyft is Lyft. But a courtesy car, generally at airports, that is provided is generally a courtesy car from the airport is a rundown police car, and that's been cleaned up and stripped of all of its equipment. And if this board thinks that we can charge, a fee, I don't know how much, for a use of a courtesy car, then we'll bring that up with Mr. Sullivan next month. They don't have the courtesy car yet. It's probably going to be about a month before it's available.
Well, I just think it would be worth discussing because we're going to have to provide maintenance and upkeep on the vehicle, and we're going to have to provide insurance on the vehicle, and that's going to come out of tax base. So
I believe
it's worth discussing. That's my opinion.
Right, and any of those costs would come out of the airport revenues.
True, but it's still out of the city
And I
coffers.
believe that he talked in here somewhere about that the driver provides their own insurance. Most courtesy car policies, allow for 2-hour limit. That's just talking about, let me see if he's talked about, I thought I read somewhere but we need to have him come here and talk to us about it. because generally, just like if you drive someone else's car, your insurance covers it. And also, they will have to sign a waiver. He has developed a waiver as well.
Okay,
So,
I just think that's something that we probably can't settle right now, but that's something worth
that's
discussing.
certainly something that
Yeah.
we will bring up, that we will possibly charge for the courtesy car.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right. Public hearing. We want to move to public hearing, and this is for you, Mr. Hartman. Ordinance 485.
All right, ordinance 485, this is second reading, is an ordinance of the City of Carabel, Florida, providing for an amendment of ordinance 434 pertaining to water and wastewater sewer impact tap fees reflected on table 4 of the ordinance, providing for severability, providing for repeal of ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, to the extent of such conflict, and establishing effective date.
Okay, we've talked about this several times, and this ordinance is relating to water and sewer tap fees, and you should have received a schedule of that. Did they all get a copy of that? But they've had it in the past. We've discussed it at length in the past. So do we have a motion regarding to approve or disapprove ordinance 485?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance
Okay.
485.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, we have Resolution 162021. Mr. Hartman.
All right, this is Resolution 16-2021, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Carabel establishing a fee and fine schedule associated with the processing of building permit applications by city personnel, providing findings, providing for an effective date. Findings, whereas the City of Carabel is a Florida municipality duly incorporated with all the rights and powers as provided in Section 2B, Article 8 of the state constitution, whereas the City of Carabel has established its own building department for the purpose of coordinating the processing of building permits and provision of plan review and inspection services associated with development in the City of Carabel, and whereas the city has chosen to charge certain fees and fines associated with processing and review activities conducted by city staff associated with building permit applications and review, including FEMA and floodplain review. Therefore, be it resolved by the City Commission, City of Carabel, Florida, that Section 1, the city finds that the adoption of a uniform permit fee and fine schedule is necessary to establish the fees, fines for the issuance of permits for development within the city. These fees represent the cost of permit processing services provided by city staff and necessary to reimburse the city building official for time spent performing plan review and building inspections. Section 2, the city adopts the attached fee and fine schedule for the purpose of establishing the permit fees and fine amounts effective on the date set forth below. A copy of the permit fee fine schedule is attached hereto as Exhibit A. And Section 3, effective date, this resolution shall take effect upon its adoption by the City Commission and signature by the mayor.
All right, thank you, sir. And this is a resolution relating to adoption of a uniform permit fee and fine schedule for building permits recommended by the city clerk. And do we have a motion to approve or disapprove Resolution 16-2021?
I'll motion to approve.
I'll second, but just question.
We have a motion by Commissioner Brown, a second by Commissioner Melander. Is there any discussion?
Question?
Yes.
Just, is this the first reading?
It's a resolution.
Oh, it's a resolution.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. All right. Now we're going to move into a quasi-judicial hearing. And this board is convening as a quasi-judicial board for a quasi-judicial hearing. And so we have item 1, and this is to approve or disapprove final site plan for 206 West 10th Street, Sop Choppy Pizza Company. And this is requested by Mr. Dale Scott. Is Mr. Dale Scott with us this evening?
He called and said he wasn't going to be able to make it in.
Okay. Ms. Courtney or Mr. Hartman, doesn't matter. Tell us what the P&Z board decided on this, and what do they recommend?
P&Z voted unanimously to approve.
Okay. We did discuss this at the first hearing November the 4th. Do we have any further questions for Ms. Courtney or Mr. Hartman on this item?
I'll
No,
make a-
and one question for, I would say, Russell and staff is, did it meet all the criteria for site plan approval? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
All
Second.
right. Do we have we have a motion by Commissioner Millender, second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. All right, then the second item under this hearing is approve or disapprove the final site plan for 810 Highway 98 East. And this is requested by Mr. Tony Smith. Is Mr. Smith with us this evening? Okay, you might want to just come up to the podium in the event we have some questions, or in the event you'd like to say something. But thank you for coming to the meeting this evening.
I also believe this is Mr. Smith's second visit to
Yes.
the board. Planning and zoning voted unanimously to approve.
Okay, and thank you. Mr. Hartman, did you have any input?
No, and just that staff determined that this application met all the criteria in the code?
Yes.
All right, very good. Do the commissioners have any questions for Courtney or Mr. Hartman or Mr. Smith? Okay, all right, then do we have a motion to approve or disapprove this final site plan for 810 Highway 98 East?
I'll make a motion to,
Okay, we have two motions. All right, I'll say Commissioner Allen motioned, and how about Commissioner Millender second?
that'll good.
Okay, is there any discussion?
I'm fine.
Okay, how about the commissioners? Do the commissioners have any discussion? Okay, you sure you don't have anything to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay, very good. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. All right, we
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing your building. Okay, we have item 3 under this special hearing. Approve, disapprove the preliminary site plan for 1105 98 East, and this is requested by Storm Construction. Is a representative from Storm Construction here?
No, he said we could call him if you had any.
Okay. Can you tell me what was and this is preliminary now, this isn't the final. So what did the Planning and Zoning Board discuss on this?
They discussed the location. It's over here across the street. It's the fenced-in lot. And they voted unanimously to approve it.
Okay.
Preliminary.
And Mr. Hartman, do you have anything to add on this one?
Yep, is, just a question for staff, did staff determine that it met all the code requirements?
Yes, it did.
All right. And I do have a question, but I can't, under this type of a hearing, I can't ask the question until we have discussion. So do we have a motion to approve or disapprove? this?
Actually, Mayor, I'm sorry, you can ask questions
I
before.
can ask a
Yes,
question?
before a vote,
Okay.
before a motion.
All right,
yep.
and it's the questions that I asked you yesterday. Can I ask that now?
You can, but I don't think they really pertain to site plan.
Okay, but I just want to let the other commissioners and the public know, that we have discussed it and what the answers are. So that in the event that, okay, so I had questions because they're showing on their site plan. I had questions, they're showing water and sewer coming from the south, but there's no sewer this way. So Ms. Keisha said that they would have to bore under 98 to get sewer and water. So it can't happen that way. I was out there, it's right up there on the hill. And they're also showing an ingress here. And I want to, I asked Ms. Keisha, is the city going to be responsible for developing a roadway there? And she said
We are not obligated to because they already have an entrance. to
they
the
have an
property.
entrance on 98. And it's the road stops a good maybe 20 feet before you get to their property, and it's a drop off there, so it's going to be.
And so where that is shown is on city right of way?
Where they're showing them coming in, it's a closed alley. but
It's
they have
11th.
access off of 98 here.
It's 11th Street.
11th Street.
Okay, but
okay.
not closed,
It's not
abandoned.
closed, it's just not open.
Unimproved.
Not
So-
developed.
And a lot of times, there's developers will come in, we'll allow them to pay for it.
Exactly, yep.
And we'll do all the surveying, excuse me, but we can't put that kind of cost out for.
Okay. All right, thank you for allowing that question, and I appreciate the answers. All right, then, do we have?
Mary, I have
yes?
one question.
Okay,
You created a question for me there on their water and sewer.
all right.
Are they gonna be required to have water and sewer on this?
If they put a bathroom, they will be.
Okay,
And they show it. They show a restroom and a break room.
okay. So they're gonna be required to encumber the cost of that drilling underneath 98?
Yes.
Yes.
And I don't believe sewer runs right here. I think it's just water on 98 there, so they would have to put in a septic tank, but that's on them.
Yeah, and Miss Courtney said that there's room for a septic and a drain field on
Okay.
this.
Yeah, that was my question.
Okay.
Good.
All right, then.
Make a motion to approve.
Okay. And we have that motion to approve by Commissioner Millender to approve the preliminary site plan for 1105 Highway 98 East. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And that second is by Commissioner Brown. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, we have item 4. Approve, disapprove a special exception requested at 304 Highway 98 to allow residential use, which is currently zoned C1 mixed-use commercial. And this is requested by Gina and Leonard Skinner. Are they here?
No. They're real estate agent.
Okay. I just want to say, and you've probably heard me say it before, about to let your clients know that this is a commercial area, and there's going to be a lot of different noises. They might hear the clock chiming, or they're going to hear festivals and parades and, ambulances, and there's just going to be all kinds of different noises there. It's not like living in a regular residential area, and I want them to be aware of that and different activities all the time. Okay, all right. So, do we have any more questions to their representative here? Okay,
What was P and Z's response?
This one comes up every other month, because
Yeah.
every time it changes hands, they have to come back before the board. So, there was no questions asked, approved.
okay,
And I've been talking to Mr. Skinner as well. He's going, because it's in a flood zone, he's going through the process to be able to renovate it completely, so it should make it nice.
all right, that would be nice right there in
Yep.
downtown. Does he know about the CRA grant?
I don't believe so, because we haven't started the permitting
Okay.
process yet.
All right. Then, are there any other questions? Okay, do we have a motion to approve or disapprove this special exception request for 304 Highway 98?
I'll motion to approve.
Okay, we have that by Commissioner Brown to allow residential use in a C1 mixed-use commercial.
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. All right, then. Now, this quasi-judicial hearing is now adjourned, and the commission will reconvene the regular commission meeting. And we have new business, and we have item 1, possible discussion of possible action concerning hiring a deputy police chief. And we have Chief Schuman with us here this evening. And he's going to talk to us about his recommendation and our city administrator's recommendation.
Make sure that thing's on. Good evening. Some time ago, back in the May City Commission meeting, we approved for me to be deputy chief while Chief Huntings was still working off his time. And at that time, the position was approved to hire a new one further down the road when it came time to do that. We've put a ad in the paper for 2 weeks. We had one application. We reviewed that application. It's Robert Hogan, who was a lieutenant with the sheriff's office, had a 26-year career in law enforcement. Started his career here with Carabell Police Department under Jesse Gordon Smith many years ago. And so I'm coming before the commission and get that approved to hire Robert Hogan as the new deputy chief.
Okay, and this recommendation is made by yourself and the city administrator?
Yes.
Okay, and have the commissioners had an opportunity, if they wish, to review the application?
It's available any,
And,
no one's asked
no one
me
has
for it.
asked for the opportunity, and I did review the application. Do we have any other questions? Mr. Hogan, would you just stand up briefly so we can get a good eyeball on you? Okay,
And we do have a speaker card too.
okay. And then we have someone that wants to speak under this one, when I call for discussion? Okay. And then, are there any other questions before I call for a vote then?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to make a comment, make sure we're clear for the public. What we're doing is we're not adding an additional officer to our staff. What we're doing is one of our current full-time officers is going back to a part-time position, and we're going to fill that vacancy with an assistant chief.
Correct.
I just want the public to understand that.
Yes,
That we're
yes.
not adding an additional position.
Right.
That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
So,
And
thank you,
that's-
sir.
That should take effect January 3rd.
Yep.
That full-time will go to part-time January 3rd. That's the start date for the new position, or the deputy chief position.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
And thank you for that clarification. That's good because we have had some public upset because they think we're hiring too many police. All right, so I'm going to call for a vote then. Do we have a motion to approve or disapprove hiring Mr. Robert Hogan as Deputy Police Chief for the Carabell Police Department as recommended by staff?
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Second.
And we have that motion by Commissioner Millender, second by Commissioner Allen. Is there any discussion? Any discussion by the commissioners at this point?
And by the
Okay.
way, I didn't review his application, but I have his application imprinted up there. I've known him for a long time,
All right.
so.
And then who would like to, speak?
I have two, too. Keisha.
Julie, how do you say your last? Busso.
Okay, Chief, if you just have a seat and let Miss.
You know, and I don't need to speak.
You need to come forward, please, ma'am. And state your name and let us know where you live.
My name's Julie Boisseau. I live on Bayou Drive. And
Okay, and speaking to the microphone,
The
please.
reason I wanted to speak was because I thought we were adding a new police officer, and I had questions relating to that. So because it's a replacement, I don't have any
All right,
questions.
thank you.
Thank you.
Keisha, I also had two. I don't think that microphone's on either.
That mic needs to be turned on, I think.
Deborah Gross? Did you need to speak?
Not on this issue.
Oh, okay, that's, okay. And then Susie,
No, he answered my question.
okay.
All right. We've got a motion by Commissioner Millender, second by Commissioner Allen. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, and that motion carries, and welcome aboard Deputy Chief Robert Hogan.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Okay, and we'll
Merry
see you in
Christmas and a Happy
January.
New Year.
Christmas.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Now we have item 2 under new business. Discussion and possible action regarding appointment of 2 new CRA board members. And Ms. Courtney is also our CRA director. Now, just for a little background, our Community Redevelopment Agency is a board that's overseen by Florida Statute 163, Part 3. And that board has a small budget, nothing like the city, and the Community Redevelopment Agency oversees the Community Redevelopment District, which is a small portion of Carabell, and takes in the business district as well. That board is made up of 7 members. 5 of those members are the 5 city commission members, and then that board has 2 appointed members. But the commission, when we're sitting as a commission, according to Florida Statute 163, must appoint those members, those appointed members. Those appointed members must either reside in the CRA district and/or be conducting business in the CRA district, where their business is housed in the CRA district. So we have 2 applicants, and you want to introduce?
We received 2 applicants. We have Ms. Chase Chisholm and Mr. Bill Gray. They're both present with us tonight.
Okay.
Both of them have businesses in the CRA.
All right, Ms. Chase, well, we'll take Ms. Chase first. Okay, and nice to see you. Thank you for coming
Hello.
to the meeting.
It's nice to see you all. Thank
Okay.
you, Courtney, Commissioners, Mayor. Thank you for letting me have this opportunity to stand in front of you and let you know my interest in being on the CRA board. I believe with my background and that I'd be great for this, my love and passion of Carabell, and I really care about Carabell, and I would love to be a part to join you guys in helping make us grow and have, you know, a better place to live and raise our families and be a better community.
All right, and then do you reside in the CRA district?
I do not reside in the district. I do own a home in the district that
Okay.
I rent out, but I also own the Carabell Corner Store,
Uh-huh.
which I have been there for 7 years.
Uh-huh, okay. And have you sat on a semi-professional board like
Yes.
this before?
Well, I've been the vice president for the Chamber of Commerce for 3 years. I've sat on the board for 5 years prior to that. So I just resigned about a month ago off of there. You pour 3 years and you're supposed to go anyway. That's the bylaws.
Okay.
But and I left on good terms, you know, and that's why now, since I have more time on my hands, I think this would be a great opportunity for me to come on and still be part of the community.
Okay. Do the commissioners have any questions?
I don't have a question, but I want to thank her for her interest to serve on the board and work toward the betterment of the CRA district in the city.
Thank you.
No other questions? Okay, and you know, the CRA board meets at 1:30 every 3rd Tuesday.
Yes, ma'am.
Sometimes we try not to meet in December, but we're going to have to meet December because we have pressing business.
That's fine.
And we would, if you are elected, then we would want you to begin in our January meeting.
That would be wonderful.
Okay. So do we have a motion regarding Ms. Chase Chisholm?
I make a motion to approve.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. All
Thank
right.
you.
All right, we look forward to seeing you in January, Ms. Chisholm.
Who was the second on that?
We have Commissioner Brown and Commissioner Millender.
Sabrina need to sit out there.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Okay, so we have our second applicant, which
No,
is,
no, she doesn't.
which is Mr. Billy Gray. Is that correct? Mr. Gray, would you please come forward? And tell us about yourself and what your interests are.
Hello, my name is Bill Gray.
Speaking to the microphone.
Sorry. I've lived in Carabell my whole life. I've had a construction company here since 2005. Me and my brother purchased Gander's Hardware this past January, so we're downtown now. And I have 2 youngins that I'm raising here and want to see the development of the community to grow. I want to try to help and be the best help I can.
Okay. Do you reside in the CRA?
No, ma'am.
Do and you're conducting business in the CRA?
Yes, ma'am.
And it's called the Gander's Hardware?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, we're going to have discussion here because Mr. Bill Gray is the half-brother of Commissioner Brown, and there is a nepotism issue on that, and the Florida statute 112-3135. So Mr. Hartman has done some research on that, and we're going to hear Mr. Hartman's opinion at this time.
All right. This issue was brought to my attention, and although Mr. Gray, but for the relationship of being a relative, obviously is qualified. But I was asked to provide an opinion on whether or not appointment would potentially be in violation of 112.3135, which states that a relative, which includes half-brother, cannot be appointed to a board on which another relative serves. Now, there's an exception to that, and the exception is for municipalities with populations under 35,000, which that is Carabell. So, and the exception, it talks about, again, population under 35,000, and where the board does not involve land planning or zoning responsibilities. So if the board does not have those type of responsibilities, land planning or zoning, then, and if you're under 35,000, it does not matter if you're a relative or not, you can be appointed. However, and there is no, I've looked at ethics opinions, I did include in some responses to folks that were interested in this, the ethics opinions, the statute, that sort of thing. And obviously the hard decision is left to me to at least provide an opinion, not a decision, but an opinion on whether or not the CRA has land planning responsibilities. And it is my opinion that it does, that the CRA is involved in implementing land planning policy that's promulgated by the City Commission, but that the CRA does implement that policy that's required to as part of, and we can talk about it, everybody can hit me with questions, but that was my opinion. So that's that, is that it's my opinion that due to him being a relative, Mr. Gray being a relative of someone who's already on the board, that he is not eligible. And I'll keep talking here for one more minute. There is one other way to get to the bottom of this, so that's my opinion as the city attorney. The additional thing here is, we only had 2 applicants. We have, we obviously show an interest in it, and that's important. We don't have an ethics opinion from the Ethics Commission, which could be applied for. I don't know the exact time frame as far as is that 30 days, 60 days, that sort of thing to get one back, that then would clear the way one way or the other. So then we'd have a firm opinion from the state agency that decides these things, and that would, then you don't need my opinion, we have their opinion, which I would look up and follow. So they could determine that I am wrong, that the CRA board does not have land planning responsibilities, or they could agree with me, and then he would not be eligible to serve, but we wouldn't be, obviously, by asking that question, we're not putting ourselves in any potential hot water.
Well, based on the attorney's opinion, I would motion to table this decision until we can get a full-fledged opinion from the Commission on Ethics.
I'll second it.
Okay. And you have that motion, Ms. Keisha, from myself, to table this, from the mayor, to table this decision until we can get a decision from the Ethics Commission.
And I have a comment, Mayor.
Okay, and then we have a second by Commissioner Melander. And you have that, Ms. Keisha?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I think that's a good move, but Bill, I do want to say thank you also very much for your interest as a citizen of this community and also as a business owner of this community. And I think you would serve well if we're not bound by ethics and by law. And I would love to have you on the committee if that's the favor that we get from our attorney and from the Ethics Commission. But anyway, thank you again for your interest. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Tony.
Okay, and Mr. Gray and Ms. Chisholm and anyone that's in this room, if you're a resident inside the city of Carabell and you feel that you're not happy with the way things are going, or that you want to serve and to help the community, run for commissioner, run for mayor. Come on, step up to the plate. We might need some new blood. Okay? All right, and thank you. We'll
It
look.
is a public meeting, so you're welcome to come at any time.
Yes, and we'll look forward to hearing the results.
Thank you,
Okay,
Bill.
thank you. All right. All right, the next item is discussion and possible action regarding hiring a part-time administrative assistant for code enforcement and the building department, and this is requested by Commissioner Brown. But Commissioner Brown did not first confirm with the city administrator whether or not there was a need for a personal assistant to the city clerk. Had Commissioner Brown gone directly to the city administrator, she would have learned that the city has an established protocol and process for development of job descriptions. And Commissioner Brown did submit a job description. Commissioner Brown would have also learned from the city administrator about the upcoming proposal in January from the administrator and the water and sewer superintendent for a part-time water and sewer billing clerk. This is a much-needed position to fill in when the full-time water and sewer billing clerk is absent. It has been unanimously determined by all front office staff and the water and sewer superintendent that a part-time position is needed to alleviate all administrative staff from taking turns working the collections window when the full-time employee is absent. This is a position for which there is already an adopted job description, an adequate salary funding source, and a new computer and equipped workstation is already set up. By Commissioner Brown going directly to the clerk to ask what the clerk needs and then unilaterally developing a job description on her own without knowledge or input from the city administrator, leaving the administrator out of the loop, Commissioner Brown, as a freshman commissioner, I have to remind her she has undermined the chain of command. In the eyes of the employees, Commissioner Brown has negated the authority of the administrator. Employees cannot have two bosses. In the eyes of the mayor, the established protocol for development of job descriptions that we have established has been nullified and disregarded. And the commission did not give Commissioner Brown direction to consult with an individual employee or to further develop a job description, and did not approve the need for a personal assistant to the clerk. Commissioners are elected to provide general oversight of the city of Carabell through participation on this board. Commissioners are not elected to be the direct supervisors of employees and do not make unilateral decisions regarding the needs of individual employees. The city administrator and department supervisor determine what is needed. The administrator and the department supervisor present those needs to the commission for review and possible revision. I would say that, and I know this, and I'm always preaching this, per the city charter, the commissioners shall deal with employees through the city administrator. If a commission member believes there is an urgent need to bypass the administrator with disregard for the chain of command and established protocol, that commission member should reach out to our city attorney. And I've done that before, and the city attorney will give us guidance. And I've also reached out to the Florida League of Cities, and they can help as well. So yesterday, I conducted a lengthy interview with the clerk and the city administrator. And I asked the clerk approximately 15 questions regarding her present duties and how Commissioner Brown's proposed job description of a 20-hour per week personal assistant to the clerk under supervision of the clerk would aid her in her duties with code enforcement and the building department. The clerk reported that she could not keep a file clerk busy for 20 hours a week with the clerical type duties outlined in the job description. The clerk explained she needed assistance with filing building permit applications and code enforcement case reviews approximately 4 to 6 hours a week. She further explained that every position in the administrative office, including the water and sewer billing clerk, needs help and assistance, to which the city administrator agreed. The clerk reported she believed that a part-time employee positioned at the collections window would be a great help to the entire office team and would better serve the needs of all the staff, including herself. Because Ms. Messer, many times herself has to work the collections window, and that takes away from her time that she can perform her own assigned job duties as listed in her job description. And the clerk said she would prefer to start with this approach, and the city administrator agreed. Now, we can have Commissioner Brown present her proposal, which would be followed by questions from this board. And I will note right here that I have prepared approximately 18 questions for Commissioner Brown regarding her proposal. Or we can table this item until after the board considers staff's presentation and recommendation in January regarding a part-time water and sewer billing clerk at the January 6th meeting. We can table this request until after we reconvene our HR committee to review the clerk's job description with possible revision and recommendation to this board. So, you know, we've got, you know, some, I personally think that we need to table this decision, hear what the staff has already prepared for us, and this has been discussed during ongoing now for about 2 months, and the staff decided to wait till January so we could start new. We have, when the water and sewer collections software was purchased in January, it was agreed, and I'm sure reported to this commission, that 2 computers would be purchased in preparation for an additional employee because the water and sewer department is growing. And that workstation is already set up. There would be no need to have to purchase another computer for another part-time person and set up another office. So I would suggest that we table this until after the board considers staff's presentation, and I would suggest that it also be tabled until we can see if we can reconvene the HR committee to review the clerk's job description and possible revision on her job description, and possibly maybe we need to make another job description as well. So that is my recommendation.
Can I
Yes,
speak on
ma'am.
that? I did not bypass the city administrator. I did bring it up to Ms. Millender, and she, as far as I could tell, said it would be okay if I talked to Keisha to see what her needs are, because I was just trying to find out how we could approach this code enforcement and building department needs a little bit better. I was not trying to go around anyone. I just made an outline, and that's why it was brought to the commission. I wasn't trying to go above anyone or go around anyone. I spoke to the people that work in the office who would be affected by this potential position.
Did Ms. Courtney know that you were developing a job description?
I knew that she was working on something after we brought up last month about the position. And we had talked about not this administrative position, but last month talked about the needs of the position that was presented last month.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we table this item for further review with staff and the commissioners that want to have input, and let's all come to a consensus on actually what our administrative needs are in the front office as a whole. With the things you described and Commissioner Brown's interest that she's found, and the clerk's needs, the city administrator's needs, I think we just need to table it and just continue working toward this and find out exactly what our needs are. And as you said, maybe reactivate the HR committee and go through the process, but I don't think we need to get in a hurry, take our time, and find out exactly what our needs are.
And I do too. I mean,
So my motion is to table it.
all right, very good. We have a motion to table this discussion.
And I'll second, because
Okay.
I was going to request that we table it as well.
That's Commissioner Millender, and Commissioner, his motion to table this discussion, second by Commissioner Brown. And I do want to say also that your outline, it was worrisome for your budget, because there's $4,000 remaining in the building department budget, $4,400, and there's $12,000 in the code enforcement line item. That equals $16,400, and your proposal was for an annual salary, as Miranda reported to you, at $15,401. And that would pretty much eat up any remaining budget, any budget in the building department, and all of the code enforcement, pretty much leave $999. And we need to keep a reserve in code enforcement in the event that we're going to have to pay this $7,000 or $6,000 to Franklin County for animal control. And then we do sometimes condemn deteriorated buildings, 1 or 2 a year, and we need a few dollars, a couple of $3,000 for each building to do that. So I'm advising you, that you'll need to work with staff if you think, and bring this to the commission. But really it needs to go, if you have a new job description you think you want, that needs to go to the HR committee and follow the protocol that we have established. All right, so we have this motion to table and a second by Mr. Millender, second by Commissioner Brown. Is there any further discussion? Miss Sharon Glaze, would you like to come to the, and meanwhile I put a throat lozenge in. I'm good, I got one, thank you.
Hi, I'm Sharon Glaze. Thank you for letting me speak. And I am here because I am concerned about code enforcement, and I would like to address, can I address this discussion that you just had?
Yes, ma'am, and you are a citizen, you live in Carabell.
Right, off of
Okay.
Three Rivers Road.
Okay, and you have about 3 minutes.
I have done my own research on code enforcement, and as you know, back, I believe in May, I made an offer to put myself through the training and go to school, do what I had to do, and do the job for free. And that was turned down. In my research, I discovered that with a simple Google search, you can find that most code enforcement involves someone in someone in the police department in some form. They need some sort of police training. And also, when you're doing code enforcement, aren't there instances where you have to be backed up by a police officer in any event?
I believe Ms. Keisha can tell you that, yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah, normally we don't go, a lot of times we just send through certified mail, send out the letters. If it's something where we feel it's gonna be confrontational, then we do send the police department.
Well, if you're gonna do anything with any part-time, administrative, or otherwise new, now you've got our new assistant chief, which is great. I'm all for, thank you for serving. I'm all for the blue. But you've got one going into part-time. So you really kind of did create a position in my book. But I'm just saying, couldn't you just make a part-time code enforcement officer that's doing it by the recommendations of searching, or can someone do some research on the whole situation and bring it back up at a further meeting?
A part-time code enforcement officer, code compliance officer is certainly not out of the question. Carabell is a small town, and Carabell, and I've talked to the clerk about this, a full-time code enforcement officer is not necessarily, not needed. But 2 days a week, and we've talked about this year after year after year, that 2 days a week would be sufficient. And Ms. Keisha said if the person could work 8 hours a day, that would really, work a full day each time, twice a week, that would really make a significant difference and be of help to her office.
I think it'd be surprising how many police officers would like to pick up an extra shift. And they're already covered by insurance. So you're not putting forth any more financial responsibility in that department, covering their 401k, because they're already employed. So I'm just making a recommendation also that avoids any nepotism. And I'm sorry, your job is difficult. You have a big responsibility running the city, and I know you know everybody in this little world. And it is hard to enforce. It is hard to enforce with your own children. So it's got to be hard to enforce with the citizens that you've known all of your life. And I really personally don't think that's even fair to you. I have been rude to you before. I apologize. You have a tough job ahead of you. Just the other day, I call the Humane Society all the time because people dump dogs in our neighborhood. There was some the other day. I have literally called, everybody in my neighborhood has, called about these dogs eat up in mange. The sheriff did a report on it. They were eat up with every parasite, every single thing. They had everything. They were dying, and nobody would do anything. And so we have to look out for our citizens, not just our families, but we have to look out for all of our citizens equally because we all live here. And whether you're a renter or a homeowner, we all live here, and we're all entitled to have our own little space of paradise where we are. We don't need to quarrel and fight and resent each other when it's so simple to fix.
Okay, and we thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
very
your
much.
comment, Ms. Glaze. And do we have would anyone like to comment or make a comment on Ms. Sharon's public comment? All right,
Did anybody else?
is there any other public comment? All right, then we haven't voted yet on this motion to table by Commissioner Millender and second by Commissioner Brown. I'm going to call for the motion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And that motion carries. All right, so we have no new business. Now, is there any public comment, just general public comment on anything, any other item? Okay.
I have John Johnson.
And John Johnson isn't here, and he said that he definitely was going to be here. Did he bring you photos?
He brought in some photos, but he took them back because he was going to take some more.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and tell you, he called, has requested that we have a workshop to try to figure out what to do over at the boat ramp because there are hundreds of carcasses there, fish carcasses at low tide. It's just disgusting, and I don't mind telling you. And they attract the birds, the shore birds, and of course that railing and sidewalk over there is pretty much white from bird droppings, and that's pretty disgusting as well. And then if you go over towards the boat ramp, the garbage that has been dumped there where people offloading their boats or loading their boats on after they've been out for a day on water, they just throw their garbage right out there at the shoreline. And that's disgusting as well. Here's Mr. Johnson now. We're holding on you, Mr. Johnson. So come on in. And I just opened the discussion by saying that you were coming during public comment to advise us about the carcasses and the amount of garbage there that's being dumped at the boat ramp, and that you were bringing pictures, and you would be requesting a workshop for us. So if you'll go ahead now and have your time.
Okay.
Thank you for
Sorry
coming.
I'm late.
That's okay.
What I talked about with Brenda before was I do most of me and my volunteers, including Cal being one, do most of the rescues and transport wildlife that are having problems in Franklin County, and also in Gulf County now. But anyway, one of the biggest problems we have is related to wildlife is all these pelicans down there at the boat ramp, and people throw those carcasses, and then the pelicans try to swallow the carcass, and they can't because it's too big, and the fins stick in their pouch, and then they can't eat anything else. And I hear about some, and we managed to catch them, but some of them die. And these are pictures just from the last 2 days. This isn't near as bad as it can be after a big fishing weekend. So there'll be, and there's also all this trash, and some of the pictures, flip to one of the ones that kind of show the overview.
And then we had Thanksgiving
Yeah,
weekend.
so there's the fish cleaning station, right? And behind it is the fence where people just throw their stuff right over that fence. Okay. Anyway, it's hard, they're not, see, there's the fence behind the fish cleaning station, then there's another one, and then there's the fence, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, there's a couple other shots that's looking down towards the pavilion, and there's little beaches along there that there'll be fish, and trash. And the amount of trash is just unreal. We've got a sign there, or there is a sign there that says don't to do it. An eagle got hit by a car from one of the out-of-towners that was leaving town, pulled over there by the Island View park that used to be the motel, and threw some carcasses out, and an eagle came down to eat them, and then the cars came, and he bounced off the fence and got hit by a car, and he could fly a little bit, but I think he probably died. So, you know, it's a big problem. The point of a workshop would be to go, how could we deal with this? And I have some suggestions and everything, and rather than go into all that now, I just think that when you've got a problem, you know, get together and figure out who could be invited to it, and I'd be willing to be involved in that. I know people from Game and Fish that would come. I think that A.J. Smith would send somebody to talk about the video surveillance thing. We could talk about putting maybe some version of like they do for the deer out. I heard that there's this citrus product that you can, if you have fish in there, you can pour it in there, and it kind of pickles them so that they don't smell, and they would last for a week without being. So there may be some, but it's a problem that I think needs to be addressed, and I'm suggesting a workshop, and I'd be willing to be involved in it.
Okay, well, I thank you for coming in. Does anyone have questions or comments to Mr. Johnson at this moment, at this time? What I would suggest is that we put this as an item on our January 6th, because it's the holidays, and not try to schedule and bombard the commissioners now with making a decision, but not try to schedule a workshop during December and the holidays, and put it on the January 6th agenda, where we would have a brief discussion and schedule a workshop in the daytime. And that's what I'm going to request, that we put this item as an agenda item, to have a brief discussion and schedule a workshop for the January 6th commission meeting. And I can make that request without it being a motion. So that's what we'll do. Does that seem suitable to you, Mr. Johnson? Okay.
That's a good idea.
All right, and then meanwhile, if you want to collect more pictures, I will. I have in the past brought pictures to the board, and to no avail. You know, we still, and actually Courtney and I have reached out to the DEP, because the fish cleaning sink was paid for with grant funding, and we thought we couldn't get rid of it, but with the pictures that I submitted to the DEP, they said we could go ahead and dismantle the fish cleaning station, you know, so that, because it is that bad.
Well, for financing, you could charge more for boat ramps, fees, you know, and everything. There's there's a lot of different ways to deal with it, I think, so.
Okay, all right. Well, I thank you, and thank you for coming in. Who's that now? Miss Donna, if you'd please come up to the.
I would love to know when that workshop's gonna be. My son has mentioned, and he's got some ideas, but I don't, but a grind pump out there at the cleaning station, you would grind the stuff up. And the birds and the fish will eat that, or some guys would get it for chum to take offshore. He's got some ideas about that one, because there's nowhere to put the
I know it.
carcasses anymore. If we had like a box like they do for the deer,
Yeah.
we have nowhere, and people's throwing it overboard, but if we could, he would come to that if it's in, when he's not working, but he thought about a grind pump, and then people could even take the chum offshore.
Well, we'll have it as an agenda item just for a brief discussion at January 6th, and then I will request that, at that time, I'll request to schedule a workshop. So the real workshop would probably be, you know, later in January, like the third week, because we want to be able to give everybody, you know, a good notice to be able to attend. And do you think the workshop would be more effective, Miss Donna and Mr. John? Do you think that it would be more effective in the daytime or in the evening like this?
I don't know, we want to get the sheriff's department, and I can talk to the sheriff's department. I know A.J. Smith will, from other wildlife issues, and police, I'm sure that you could work with them about
Mhm.
that. FWC, I would think that the daytime would probably be better, but
Okay, and Miss Donna, would daytime, do you think that would be all right? Oh, we don't know yet. We don't know, but daytime.
If he can't come, I'll get him to write it down or what he had in mind. It would run, I guess he taught like running, I don't know, but from that station, and they could, or maybe put it maybe by the water where it would grind and you'd go out to the water.
Uh-huh.
It would also probably bring in the fish to feed on it, like they did at the old fish houses.
Okay.
But that's just a thought.
It is, thank you very much. I appreciate your input. All right, is there any other public comment at this time? Any other public comment? Okay, then, no more comments? This meeting is adjourned, and thank you all for coming.
You didn't give us a chance to make